Okay. Okay. Let's see here. So I don't think my camera's quite straight. Let me see if I can fix that. Kind of weird on this back. Hey. How are you guys doing this week? I am hoping to kind of get through the last bit of these notes soon. I actually got a lot of stuff reformatted and actually kind of delved into the layout of everything. So I'm actually kind of excited because things are starting to look the way I picture them in my head, and that's always great when that happens. So I have a few things. Let me just make sure that's closed. To go through today, but first I'll show you kind of what it looks like in World Anvil. So let me just. Sorry, the air conditioning's going. It is hot. So I do apologize for that noise, but it's like it's unbearable otherwise. So, um, yay. So here is the World Anvil page. I changed the top picture. I actually got the back one the same, but I changed kind of the color scheme and how it works. So I'm still working out some of the kinks. Like this shouldn't be brown, and I'm having some trouble, and some of the links are still red. But it's looking like I picture it more in my head, which isn't so light bright. It's more of a darker feel, which is what I feel like the world is. So I've gotten my countries set up. I've separated them out from countries to city-states to regions. So that's all in there now. So I was working on fauna and flora, and I forgot how far I got. I also found a theme for my obsidian wall that I really like. I think it's called Space Bubble. I guess I could look. Bubble Space. That's close. But I really liked how everything's boxed out. It makes it really easy for me to see how everything's separated, and I really like the color scheme. It appeals to me. Also, kind of similar to my world, so I really actually like that. But yeah, I still. I think this is a junk article. Actually, let me see here. Yeah. So I have village in here. Everything is separated out and matches what's in World Anvil, which also makes me happy. So we'd finished up nature this last time. Oh, and I also figured out some, so if we come over here, I actually need to move that article, but we'll do that in a second. I've got cards going, so these are fun because it'll pull up the top part of the article and you go read the full one. It's starting to connect everything, which is great. Like I said, still got little things to do with like the links and stuff like that. But I'm getting there, and it's looking a lot more like what I picture things should look in my head. So let's in here and see where we're at. Actually, the first thing I want to do in here is take a look at flora and fauna. I would like to move this. Check my categories here. Sorry, I have another thing open. I'm going to close it. Let's delete this. No. Because I actually want to create a nature folder. So let's do that. Let's add a new category. Sure. Makes sense in my head while it's there. Honestly, I know it's not exactly intuitive for everybody else. But, oh, can I not put a subfolder in there? Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, because I just put my articles right in there. Where did you go? I do a minerals article. Where is everything? There's a minerals article. And yeah, where'd you end up? Sure didn't end up in here. No. So don't need to worry. I have it on my thing, but I just built it. List. Yeah. It is. It says it's in nature. What? There it is. I'm just blind. Okay. So we got that going. But I want this to be in here. Doesn't seem I can't do another. Yes, I can, because flora and fauna have. Let's see. Maybe edit categories. Oh, I should have. Well. Do add a group. I do. I should just be able to drag and drop. Right about that. There it is. Advanced edit. Category. Parent category needs to be nature. It changes. There we go. Now if we go look at articles. And let's go take a look at World Encyclopedia is where we're at. Just want to look at the fauna page. I guess I gotta just click on the card. Yeah, I don't have. Okay, I just want to make sure I hadn't put some of the other items in there. So let's advance edit you. That's not what I want. I want advanced edit, and I want to go to nature. There we go. That cleaned that up. So I do have all these other ones which I haven't used yet. So I'm going to take a look because I have some other items that we could stick under there. Create a new folder. Organization. That's what takes up the most of the time. At least for me. There we go. You. Because it's fine. No. Okay. So now I got that going. Since I have everything in fauna, I have a fauna and flora article. I don't need this animals category, so I'm going to animals, delete. Yes. Same thing with plants. I mean, I could have the category they're going to direct it to, but I'm not gonna. Beasts and monsters. We're gonna do keep sapient species though. We need beasts and monsters, so let's clean that up. I always recreate later, so I have. But do I need a whole nother? Let me see. What do I have in here? There's not a lot of different species, so to speak. I mean, they're all quote unquote human as much as human dreamers can be, but for intents and purposes, there's no elves. There is a race of dwarves, but they're a type of human. They're not actually a separate race. But oops, that's the religion. Let's take a look at. Let's do this. I'm gonna get rid of this. I realize I just shouldn't have done that. Well, we'll create a new category. Sapient species. Set current category. Go. There you go. Now we can create a new article. Another article. Create new. I did. Oh. I created it twice. Let's trash one. So I never forget. Let's do it first. Okay. Now we can talk about this. So I have humans. Because everything is dreamer. Or at least proceed to. There is a class where of people that don't seem to have any dreamer abilities, but they don't all consider themselves humans. So then I have the doors of the Densai. Should be potters and miners. They were found as a tribal people in Western Himalaya, which is mostly desert or high plains. There was a dispute which happened during, I think I talked about it before, the character Ryer's time, and they became nomads. So, however, they haven't been seen in Himalaya for many years at this point, at least probably about 20, 30 years. The rumor is that they went through the forest wall. So, and then the Visaris. So, in the original version of my first story, the Visaris were this warrior force and part of this country. I since kind of merged Himalaya down and moved that force somewhere else in the world. They still exist. What they're the country that they fight for and everything is something just completely different. So completely different. So it's interesting, I think. So that's what we have here. Let's go ahead and grab this. And we're going to do that pretty quick. So right now they don't appear in any story, though that might change later. We'll see. But the Dinsai were, again, they were originally in the very first version of the story. But then since I split that out and moved that chunk of the story to an earlier period of time, so they're not now anymore, but I still love them. They're one of my favorite peoples that I created. Right? So that should be that. Let's. There's a lot of change here. So if we go to encyclopedia, we can now see nature. Let's do sapient species and races. I could, I guess, go straight through and they wouldn't back down, but I don't know. I like this. My computer is running really hot. I wonder if I should get a fan for underneath it. Yeah, nope. Some things didn't happen correctly. Let's. Oops. Please ignore my calendar. Or that. Nobody saw that. Let's pretend nobody saw that. Anyway, why didn't this work? It should be save changes, H2. What's going on? Oh, somebody found a speaker. Somebody found his hedgehog. Quibble. I'm gonna bring it to me. He's chewing it. Um, inspect. See what's happening out here. User vignette. It's not showing the H2 around it. What's going on? It's right here. Oh. Psi. Dwarves. What's ours? Just in case I have to change something. So those are coming out as H3. You notice this while you guys can see my pitiful channel numbers. Sorry. I'm gonna close that too. Wasn't completely prepared. Is that when I check, like these are actually coming out as like H2 and H3, which is really weird. Let me see. What this color is. If it to be an H2, then it should be an H2. That's why I dislike BB code. I don't like it. That's what it uses. So I'm going to change some of this really quick. Leave H5 for right now. That still doesn't tell me why this is not. Right. SRS. Move this extra spaces all out of here. Save changes. Where are my cache? It's been a while. 150 megabytes. It's not a lot. Usually things don't start getting wonky for. Or just like, I hope. See, this just has a line spacer block. Let me try removing the extra lines here, see if it makes a difference. So weird, there's no line spacer block. There we go. I guess just the extra lines was screwing with it all. Okay. Well, still looks decent, so I'll go with that. So that's the races part. Let's go back to articles. Let's see what we got. This. Oh, there's like an extra line there. I can see it. But it's here too. Yep. Here. We'll just clean up the articles. Okay. So I'm going to move this under nature for right now. There we go. So back to religion. So let's go take a look at religion. And again, just spoiler warning, this is a spoilery part. Encyclopedia, James religions. So I haven't made the cards yet here for these. I figured I'd finish them first before I made cards. So where did we get through? We got through atheism. we ended at the mini color goddess. Because we talked a lot about the Temple of Union last time. Would this be this bad boy here? Just make sure I have. That could be my document. Yeah. So, many colored goddess. Go take a look at that. Okay, so we're talking about Residia, and that I'm going to. Residia, Judas Religions. Oh, yeah, I created all the articles for him. Okay. Let's work on this. So the mini color goddess. So this is the state religion of Residia, of which the Empress um, is considered the goddess on Earth. Those outside the nation um, consider it a fantasy, basically. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that just like the Queen of England is the head of the church. It's kind of like a figurehead kind of situation. Um, just because Residia just has this huge district, and that's actually why I have the kind of government of Residia here, because it's so embroiled in the religion. Um, and while there's no persecution of people who don't believe, there's certain that left out because it's hard not to believe when they see it firsthand. If you deal with the blue robe sect, you see their protection firsthand. If you deal with the Sarasai, you see their healing firsthand. And they know about dreamers, but they just believe it all comes from the goddess. Um, they do believe that, well, they call it the many color goddess, and the Empress is the figure of the goddess on Earth. The belief is that these are still separate deities. So Sarasai, the brown robe deity, is her own goddess. Us, the Suriel, the gray goddess, is her own goddess. Um, so it's kind of a many of the one kind of situation. Um, and all of it is, there is a degree of smoke and mirrors going on here, but for the most part, it is real. Every sect of the goddess is charged with some sort of aspect of society. So it's all very heavily woven into the dream magic religion and how that's pulled up. So the second book that I wrote, Eliana, it is kind of centers on her crisis of faith in this. So, let me see where we're at. We have the government. So everything, and the Empress is still not doing like day to day kind of scenario. Like, she's not usually seen, only during special circumstances. Um, certain points there's a big deal made about marriage, but you don't really hear about the royal family. Eventually, another empress is either inherited or chosen. A man never ascends to the throne, um, which is already at. I did name the blue sect. Okay, let me grab. I want to kind of put the cereal. No, I'm going to move that, I guess. Okay. Let's stick the rest of this in here. Because there's a lot. Can I extend this? I can. This is to be a big H2. Really? It's a spoiler, I warned you. I won't say it out loud, but there's spoiler on screen. Okay. So the current empress, at least in the time, is Juliana Residia. Um, that under a spoiler. She didn't have. I had a spoiler with that too. That's spoilers in this section. The goddesses appear to foreigners in the form of visions or travels to the other world. When he's dark in a place of mystery, residents believe they travel through the other world to the world of the dead. The world has many parts, but is finite and much smaller than Idmahan proper. Some sects acknowledge that the goddesses that live inside the world are connected, others do not. Get two on there. So I'm going to save this for a second and come here back to these articles because I did something that I think I need to fix. That is under and religions. Yeah, I moved the cereal here, so we're gonna move that back under the World Atlas, and we're gonna move cereal under regions. I think that'll work. Let me go take a look at that really quick. See what I stuck there. Regions. So Cero is a very large island off the coast of Residia. It is part of Residia. So let's edit this really quick. Yeah, I don't have this well edited at all. I should do that. Let's see. Let's see if we can auto link that. Place and replace. I want to link this to religion. was hoping it would let me choose. I might have to change that later. That's okay. So it's basically just talks about the military part, which is fine. Um, to bold that. So the Suriel are two parts of the warrior caste, just known as Suriel warriors, and the pure, which are the monks. I think I talked about a little bit before. The Grey Road is basically that other world road that they travel to the land of death. And trainees are known as the Undersuriel. Did I put? That help channel the dream. Okay. Let's view this. I got us back there, but that's okay. We can fix that later. Or what I changed. Let's enter regions. Okay. It's fine. I'll renumber those later. Okay. So a little bit of update on that. So back to this. So we're at the sex. So the blue goddess, Alabaster. Let's call you H3. So I talked a little bit about the blue sect before. They maintain the basically this magical wall around Residia that keeps danger out. This is one of the reasons why Residia gains ground that can't be taken back. And it also extends the power of the many-colored goddess. So, many-colored goddess power only works within this magically created barrier. Once outside it, her power no longer reaches. So, for her, it's very important for them. It's very important that they have expanded their territory, which is one of the reasons why they expand territory. But life is pretty good inside the walls, so and it's not something that you can see or even feel, but if they're not wanted in that country, they can't pass. It doesn't happen, and ships that have tried to crash with an airship or otherwise have crashed. Um, so when they look at the other world, they see a vast ocean. They usually appear at a sunsetted beach, backed by a forest. If the goddess appears, she's a woman made of water. Um, let's see what else. So it also keeps the dream from passing out and as or into the country, so dream messages don't come in the same way. Which means if a dream message comes from Residia, it's been sent from outside of their territory. Um, so, in some ways, it also when people alert, like the goddess knows that they're in her territory. It's not something that like she's actively like staring at; she just knows, and but it's all part of that production. The biggest thing about the being a blue priest or being identified that you so when you're identified as in Residia puts a lot of stock in what kind of dream powers you have. And if you turn out that you have the ability of a blue priest, this is you literally give of yourself to make this wall until you disappear. So what happens is that anyone who becomes a blue priest basically severs their ties with their family as if they've died because in depending on how much work they do, where they're stationed, how much new wall they have to build, they only have a few years left before they just completely disappear. Inheriting a blue robe is that often if you find a blue robe, that usually means that wall work was done there and the person used the last of themselves and they're gone. They kind of talk about it as going into the waters, becoming the water. Um, I'm actually going to write that down. Also known as becoming the waters. Um, and that both means that that's what happens to you when you die, as well as that's what it means to take on the blue robe. So there's that. So the Sarasai, they're the healers, the Amber Goddess, or the Brown Robes. They run the healing centers, hospitals. Um, what did I do? Did I make that a 3? I did. They they see the other world as a large cottage. The goddess appears robed and cowled, carrying a lantern with a yellow glow. And it's basically healing magic. They have the ability to heal. Um, or they also study, like, it's not just laying on hands and there you go. It's also about studying medicine and learning. Well, there is healing magic. Um, they also run nurseries, orphanages, and any other like helping service. They it's not considered something that dreamers normally can do, and it is possible to become part of the Sarasai without healing magic because, again, like I said, part of it's studying medicine. So there's that. The Grey Goddess, the Surreal, and the Pure. So, like I said, that plays a pretty big role. Um, the Grey Goddess is veiled. She has a herd of deer that she mines. It's said that the deer are the souls of the dead. Deer are considered um, souls of the dead in Residia. Um, they also don't believe in using dream messaging, which is a bit counterintuitive. But I can't say I have a good reason for it. it just makes sense to me. They consider the body this temple, this thing that must be taken care of, and you do not violate that. They only manifest the dream through the Callous Sword, which is a bronze sword that basically turns into a fire sword when they use it. That's not exactly true, though. They do manifest the dream in ways to help them be very acrobatic when they fight. Um, they're not monks. They're not celibate. I've run into that before. I used the word monk and people didn't assume, so I got rid of the word monk, and they still assume they were celibate because it's a religious order. Yeah, that's not true. So back to the Grey Goddess. She's the goddess of death. With her to do wood. The deer are supposed to be the souls of the dead. So when travel to this world, it appears all in grayscale. There's no color. Um, here in Obsidian culture, a symbol of death. I want to be that. I want to be that. Okay. Um, so they're basically these uber fancy warriors. They dive from airships. They can perform some pretty big acrobatics. They're not the only part of the military. They're just these. It's basically a very elite foot soldier force. But the pure, they're the ones who communicate with the Great Goddess. They're the ones who write the world and say what the Suriel should and should not be. Um, they don't speak. There is a There are 8 positions called voices, which speak for the pure, and they're the only ones that speak. The 10 they sponsor when they go when a child is sent for training or to become one of the Suriel. When they reach the age, they are given a choice to become a warrior or join the pure, and very few join the pure. Because again, to join the pure, that is a monastery that is away from the world. So that's where that separation comes in. Um, but part of that ceremony is also renouncing your voice, renouncing vanity. Their head is shaved. Um, but again, like they're not seen walking about. When they are seen, they're there. Then they're not. So they're very separate. So the avatar of the goddess is the voice. The resident empire outside the country. There's someone who let's see, I should actually make that. Let's do that. Sorry, just checking my headings. Um, there hasn't really been an avatar. They have emissaries. They have a whole diplomatic corps and everything like that. So it's been thousands of years since an actual avatar has been chosen. There's some mythology around it, but it's kind of like one of those things. Like, oh, we talk about the Avatar at the founding of the country, and they went around and did the altars to the goddess. Let me see, 6. We're gonna make that an H2. To the different goddesses, they include a set of icons that represent the goddess, and her. Let's see, I'm actually gonna reword that. And her accoutrements, such as the goddesses herd of deer. A small bottle of water is used for blessings. So it's a very simple altar, but they do have icons. There's a certain artistry to icons. Very rich will have very commissioned, where poor people may have handmade ones. They have a set of curses and prayers that I've kind of used in this. Let's give that a H2. Bless this fiber of peace and nourish the dream. By your leave I walk the grey road in your shadow, and by your side and ahead in death. O grey goddess, watch over the road I now travel, for it is treacherous and I cannot see. May the grey goddess bar you from the path. O grey goddess, watch over the road I now travel, for it is treacherous and I cannot see. Oh, I had that twice. Yeah. I'll make this list. It's gonna do that thing. Oh, I hate that it does that thing. What? So Eliana grows up and trains as a serial warrior. That's in that second story that I wrote. And it's her crisis of faith that she has to deal with. Because she is ill prepared for what life actually has in store for her. And she desperately wants to be part of the pure, but all of that is kind of taken from her. So let's take a look. Deities, religions. Oh, I'm gonna have to edit those. Let me. I can fix the spoiler cards later. But let's go on to the next one. We're almost out of time. I've been talking about all this and had the one thing to figure out, but I'm moving along now. So we head back to religion. I'm going to have to copy that part. The next thing that we have is the Everworm. Yes, the Everworm. The Everworm is this great dragon that flies in a continuous figure eight above the necropolis. And it is so in a big kind of Ouroboros. It speaks through the charm witches of the town, of the city. It never leaves its position. It never rests. It has big magical. The necropolis is set in the forest wall, so it has a huge influence over that area. Residents usually believe that the worm protects them, but it affects the weather. It affects everything around it, and it's just part of the magic of that area. But it is considered the charm witch is at the very least considered a god. But that's another story that I wrote. Let me get that one set up really quick. Oops. So, here we go. Here's the Everworm. I only wrote one story, kind of, but it does play a bigger role in another story I'm working on writing. So that's happening too. Um, I am writing. I've gotten a few short stories on, which I've been really happy with, and maybe I'll get them finished polishing them here soon, and hopefully start getting them sent out. I would love to have something published in this world. The things that I do have published are just not. I mean, someone asked me last time about that. I have 2 short stories that were published. Other than that, everything that I've had published has all been tech articles that I've written over the years, and quite a few of those. But yeah, a lot of nonfiction stuff that I've written throughout the years. I've just have not been able to break into the fiction market. So I keep working on it though because I love this so much. Okay, so published. All right, well, I think that's what we're going to call it for today. I'm going to get this part copied in. I wonder if I should break these out in my thing because these are getting kind of long. I have them all as one thing. So maybe I'll work on this week breaking all those out so they're ready to go. Because then we have some ships. And then we get into magic. So I'm hoping that I'll get ahead because the magic is where it starts getting fun. This is where we start talking about the dream. And I guess I'll leave you with that little thought here of what I believe the dream is. And dream is what is. It's the very life of things, and the dreamer is someone who feels it, hears it. We're all part of this greater dream. And the dreamer is tuned to listen and communicate through the dream. The best of us can draw the very life of the world through it and make it burn. The dream is life, light, and fire. So that's kind of how I encapsulate the dream in my head. So, um, but we have a lot going on here, and I think I'm going to need to break this out a bit. But yeah, so until next time, I hope to all talk to you later. Next week is I should be doing this again. This Thursday, tomorrow is No Man's Sky stream. Next week, there will not be a No Man's Sky stream. Just because I have a meeting, and I don't think the week after that. I might see if I can do some other days for No Man's Sky stream as well, because I'd like to play some more. So we'll see what I can pull together. But if you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to see more of. And of course, you can join me on Twitch, which I have all those links below. But I do post these. I try to post these the next day on YouTube. But thank you so much.